big debate, right? So we look at fasting and where it first came out, and it's like, okay, we see that obese sedentary individuals who had to lose weight rapidly for surgery, they're put on a fasting type program to lose weight quickly in order to survive surgery. And unfortunately, a lot of the times we look at clinical research and it gets transposed over to health and fitness without actually asking if it's viable. So then we
Okay, so this is Stacey Sims on Diary of a CEO, and she's talking about fasting. And it's crazy. This is like when you read Georgia Eads' book about nutrition and you find out where the nutritional information comes from, the so-called tests that they do and the trials that they do to see which diet is better, and then you realize that it's all based on like not real science and hypothetical situations. And she seems to be coming out here saying a lot similar with like where they're getting the information about fasting from is crazy.
look at the lower end of the fitness population, people who are just learning to move and wanting to move. And like, I also want to lose more body fat so that I can move better. Oh, I'll start fasting. And when we see a lot of the like push on it, it comes from male data again. So when we start looking at women, and a lot of women used to come with their partners to see me and say, I don't understand. We're both doing the same kind of fasted training. He's leaning up and getting fitter. I'm putting weight on and getting slower. I'm like, okay, well, we have to separate it out, right? If you're a woman, you want to fast for all the health reasons that we hear about with regards to telomere length, improving longevity, improving our body's metabolic control. Then we work with our circadian rhythm where we stop eating at dinner. So we have dinner, we don't eat 2 to 3 hours before bed. We have the overnight fast, and then you want to have food within a half an hour of waking up to blunt that cortisol peak that's natural upon waking. For men,
Okay, yeah, see, there you go. So that's why I eat my boiled egg in the morning when I'm having my decaf. Um, Now that I've started to do that, and yeah, apart from the exercise on it, but it blunts the cortisol response. You know, this idea of not eating till you're 11 or 12, like I tried that one meal a day when I was carnivore and I was fine. And then by kind of like 10 or 11, I just have this insane amount of anxiety. So, um, yeah, that just never worked for me. I mean, I know it works for other people. It could again be age related. Like it might work better for you if you're out of over the menopause and you're over that age, and it might be very different if you're maybe below 30. I don't know.
you can have variations of fasting. You can do intermittent fasting, you can do warrior fasting, and you can still have benefit. But for women, when we look at the data, and if we were to do a warrior fast, which is a 20-hour fast, 4-hour eating window, for men, we see more parasympathetic drive, so they get that more focus. They have better blood glucose control. They get an acceleration of body fat loss. They become more metabolically flexible, meaning their body's able to transfer between carbohydrate and fat utilization. For women, it doesn't happen that way. For women who do a warrior fast, so that's a 20-hour fasting and 4-hour eating window, they end up with less blood sugar control. We have higher resting blood glucose. We have more fat storage. We have more sympathetic drive. So that means the body's under stress and you're not going to be able to sleep or recover well. And we see a downturn of the thyroid within 4 days of doing this. So when we're looking at the data of fasting, again, it's pulling from the men and generalizing to the women. But when we start really looking and narrowing it down and looking at female specific data, the type of fasting that's out there in the health and fitness world is not appropriate for women.
But you would say that
It's great. It's crazy. Um, yeah, so I used to eat twice a day because I wouldn't be hungry. So I'd have breakfast at around 8 because I love breakfast. And then I'd go until about, 2 or 3 o'clock, and then I'd have dinner. And then I wouldn't kind of eat after 4 o'clock. Like I wouldn't really eat usually after half 3, 4 o'clock. Um, and I felt good, but there would always be this kind of moment where I'd get kind of jittery or something like that, and usually around kind of 1, 2 o'clock before I'd eat, I'd start getting jittery. But if I went and I tested my ketones, I'd always have higher ketones if I didn't have anything to eat from breakfast. And now I've got lower ketones, but I feel more stable because now I eat at 12 as well. I eat something that's just meat or eggs because I don't want to spike my blood sugar, but yeah, I definitely eat now. So technically I eat 4 times a day now because I have the boiled egg in the morning when I first wake up, and then I'll have my breakfast, and then I'll have like something small to eat around 12, and then I'll have my dinner, and I'm not even hungry. Like at 12 o'clock, and even when I'm eating my dinner, then I'm not even hungry, but I just eat, um, just to kind of keep myself stable. And then I can go the rest of the evening because I'm so full of food. I really don't have any hunger that it's absolutely no issue for me to go from 4 o'clock and without eating anything else.
The sort of overnight fast, eating dinner at a earlier time,
Like 6, 7,
6 o'clock, and then eating breakfast when you wake up at say 8 in the morning or 9 or something.
6 or 7.
What about the like 3-day fast you hear about to get into like autophagy or whatever it's?
Exercise is a stronger stimulus for autophagy than fasting. Because if we look at exercise in itself as a fasting state, what happens during exercise? You start exercising, your body is trying to provide fuel. So it's breaking down fat, it's breaking down glucose, it's breaking down amino acids. It's also creating, in a recovery standpoint, a boost of growth hormone, a boost of testosterone in both men and women that creates the cell cleanup, which is autophagy, right? So if we're looking at the difference between fasting and exercise, exercise is a stronger stress. All the things that we hear about fasting and longevity, exercise does the same. It's a stronger stimulus for it. But the problem is we've become a lazy society and people think exercise is too hard. As an exercise physiologist, it breaks my heart to see people who are struggling to walk down the street because we are so used to being conditioned to a certain temperature in a room, to having a car automatic opener or Uber come so we don't have to walk down the road. And I bring up that movie WALL-E from the early 2000s with the little robot who's like wandering around society, and you see all these people on these floating beds watching a screen, and one of the guys gets kicked off by WALL-E accidentally, falls down, he can't get up. And he's looking around going, why can't I get up? What's going on? I'm like, that's today's society where people are not able to actually pull their own body weight around for a significant amount of time because it feels too difficult. Whereas if we look at all the stuff that comes out with nutrition and all the trends that come out with nutrition, from fasting to carnivorous diet to, the old-fashioned paleo, all of these things that people are trying to do, we turn to exercise and we change the modalities of exercise. Are we doing intense exercise? Are we doing low intensity? Are we doing resistance training? Are we doing cardio? What are we doing? All of these things in exercise are significantly stronger stress on the body that create more adaptive changes than all these crazy diets. But people find exercise too hard or they don't have time.
So if in that example where a man and woman come to you, you wouldn't recommend the woman to fast in the same way that you'd recommend a man to fast. Is there any differences that you'd recommend in training if their goal was to lose weight?
Yep, absolutely. So when we're looking at regardless of age for women, because
Okay, so I'll put the link to this discussion in the description. Again, I'm not really concerned with weight loss. Like, I don't care. It's so far beyond my giving a shit. I just want to be able to take my dogs for a walk without it being stressful. Like, I couldn't care less what weight I am. But of course, since I started doing this again, like, my family are telling me that I've lost more weight. I don't really see that. I lost a huge amount of weight last year when I did it the first time, very quickly. I'd say probably around 35 pounds, which is about 3 stone. And a lot of belly fat and things like that. The only thing I really monitor is my belly fat because it's such an indicator of insulin resistance. So I'm careful about that. But yeah, so I don't really care about it, but I'll put the link in. It's an interesting discussion, especially, but again, a lot of what she talks about is it for people who read, she's obviously, like, just look at her, like, you can tell that she works out a lot, and she is somebody who advocates for a lot of strength training, and you can eat more carbs when you strength train. So when she talks about eating carbs and things like that, she is talking about somebody who's about to do some high intensity workout as well, because that is her profession. But in general kind of terms, as somebody who suffers from extreme anxiety and anxiety conditions, I do think that since I started following her advice about basically just eating more in your window, just like eating more throughout the day, it does make you feel more comfortable throughout the day. And so I think that that's worth looking into. All right, like, subscribe, share, all makes a difference, getting the word out. So yeah, talk to you next time.